So what's up, you guys? So I know everybody's seen the video. I actually got a lot more views on that than I thought I would, and it's such a short amount of time, so I appreciate that. And as I said in that video like a million times, that way it doesn't get misconstrued, I'm gonna say it in this video as well because it still plays a part with the Lincoln over there. I do not fault Carvana for doing this. This is not Carvana's fault. This is just laziness on the person that checked over the car. Well, we'll say checked over the car because they fucking didn't check it. And it really does kind of piss me off because it leaves a bad taste in your mouth for the company that you're actually purchasing the car from, because it makes you think, well, if this car is like this, who knows how many more like that. But as I said in my other video, I am getting another vehicle. It is another Lincoln. It's not an MKZ, it's an MKS, which is the Ford Taurus equivalent, just like that is a Fusion equivalent. It's a 2014, so it's a model year newer. It's got 75,000 miles, which is almost 20-some thousand less, or 25,000 miles less than that car has. It does not have a sunroof. It does have a lot more than that car. It's got the THX sound system, which that car could have gotten, but it does not have. It does not have a sunroof, like I said, but it does have forward adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, and stuff like that. So that's good. It's also got heated and cooled seats, just like this car. And I misspoke in the last video where I said it had a heated steering wheel. It does not have a heated steering wheel, just like that car doesn't. So, but anyways, I did a little browsing, and I'm just going to use the MKS as an example because I can pull it up. I can't pull up the checklist for that car. But Carvana uses a 150-point inspection on every car that they get. Like my Yukon, for example, they're not going to inspect that car because it's not worth keeping for them. It's way too old, it got way too many miles, and it's been modified, so they're not going to mess with it, and it won't pass emissions because there's certain counties near where I live that you have to have emissions. So if I go 30 minutes from where I live now, that county has to have emissions. But anyway, so like I said, I did a little snooping, and I tried to see if there was anything specific that would point out, you know, the issues that my car has that shouldn't have been missed. And lo and behold, I found stuff that specifically points out the issues I found with that car in particular. Just as a side note, which somebody already knows this because I've told them, but when I backed that car into the spot it's in right now, the reverse camera stopped working again. So, and the capacitive touch for the fan speed, it started working again. So, you know, it is what it is. But so this is, which you can't really see because it's dark. Hi. This is the 150-point inspection that Carvana does. This is for the MKS. It's not for the MKZ over there. But granted, it's the same for every vehicle. It doesn't matter if it's a car, truck, SUV, big car, little car. Doesn't matter. So a couple things, you know, they check all the normal stuff. They check, make sure the heat works, make sure the transmission is going to work correctly. They make sure the AC works. They make sure, if I didn't say that already, they make sure everything works in the car it's supposed to. They make sure the car doesn't overheat. They look at the they're supposed to check the tires, see if they're in good shape. Supposed to check the wheels, make sure there's no damage or anything like that, which, you know, we'll get into that in a minute. They check the whole car front to back, upside down. They don't tear it apart, but they check everything. Make sure there's no leaks of any sort. They check brakes. They check, you know, every function of the car. They check the whole car like a consumer would to make sure that there's no issues with it, or there will not be any issues in the future. But you can't really do that because, you know, stuff happens that's out of your control. So, you know, it is what it is. And I know by saying that, a lot of people are going to be like, all right, well, you know, you got all these issues with your car. It's out of your control. No, it's not. Or it's out of their control. No, it's not. The stuff that I've pointed out on this car is Carvana's inspector's fault because they didn't notice it and they didn't say nothing about it. And a couple of the things, most of the things I have issues with should have been fixed and pointed out with this checklist, but we'll get to that. So, and they're also supposed to wash these cars. That's another thing, and I'll get to that too because that's on this checklist. So we'll go ahead and we'll scroll down. Like it says, okay, this is where we start. Okay, it says check tire tread depth. Where is it? There it is. Record tread depth. Make sure it's at least 430 seconds. I don't have a tread depth gauge here, so I didn't check. I don't care about the tread depth. I could give two shits less. The next thing is tires, number 25. What's that say? Tires. Check for uneven wear or sidewall cracking. All the tires on this car are starting to crack and dry rot, so they need to be replaced. Plus, the tires are over 4 years old, so they're gonna have to be replaced no matter what. Typically, if tires are not showing the age like mine are, you can try to ride on them, especially if the car hasn't sat outside for a long time. If it stays in a garage and the tires are kept off the ground, that does help prolong the life a little bit, but not as much. And especially with performance tires, like the wheels and tires that I had on this car from that Mach 1, the Michelin Pilot Sport S's, those they recommend, even if they're not worn down, you replace them after 2 years. Just because the rubber will start to degrade and fall apart, the belts will start to damage, go bad and stuff like that. So it's best, and if you're going to track the car, you don't want to try to rely on a 2-year-old set or 4-year-old set of performance tires that are going to get hard. You're going to lose grip, and potentially they'll blow out, cause you to go into a wall or whatever. So anyways, that has nothing to do with this car, because that's not a performance car, but it still applies. You don't want to ride on tires that old, so that's a fault on them. So that's number one. Number two, wheels, rims. Number 26 says check for damage. All these wheels have corrosion, which is a sign of damage, because it can weaken the wheel itself. If the corrosion gets bad enough, it can actually eat a hole into the aluminum and make the wheel either crack, or it'll develop a leak that I'm sure a lot of people won't find. They'll have issues with that, and it looks like shit. I mean, y'all saw the wheels on the car. They all four look like that. And not only that, I couldn't get them off the car because they were almost welded to the hubs because of the corrosion. And that just shows that the last time those wheels were off were more than likely when those tires were getting put on, because those are not the factory tires. So that's another thing. So that's number three. Number two, it does have a spare tire. It didn't have any leaks that I saw. We'll go with the exterior because I think it still touches on some other stuff. No, none of that applies. All the headlights work, all that bullshit. Water leaks. Look for number 58. Look for evidence of water intrusion. So that's my third thing. The biggest thing. There was obvious signs of a water leak at some point in the inside of this car. I don't understand who the fuck doesn't know what a water leak looks like, or if they don't, they need to be taught. You can't expect everyone to know everything, just like I don't expect everyone to know anything. But if you're wanting them to check stuff that you've made, or you want them to use a checklist that you made, you need to make sure that they understand and know what all this stuff is and know what to look for. Because if somebody gets in this car and looks at the A-pillars like I did, they're like, oh, I don't know what's wrong with this. It's a little discolored. Maybe that's from the sun. No, that shows signs of water intrusion and a leak. And for those that aren't aware, when stuff leaks, it can cause mold if the water's not cleaned up immediately. And people like me that have asthma, mold's not good for your health. It's really not good for anybody's health, but especially people with asthma. So that's another thing that they should have checked. The backup camera, I'm going to say that's just something that probably has just started happening. I don't know if it started messing up before this car came to me, but it is an issue now, and you can tell that the camera looks kind of shitty and the picture's not very clear like it should be. So we'll just chalk that up to it being a car from up north or wherever it's from. So can't really say anything about that. The car doesn't make any kind of weird noises. It drives perfectly fine. Not really any issues with that. The underside of the hood is not clean. The engine's not clean. It's got oil caked up on a lot of places. And I was kind of surprised at that. But like I said, people don't clean like they're supposed to, so I don't trust dealerships. But you have to be careful, because sometimes if they try to clean it really well, it's because they're trying to hide a leak or they're trying to hide something. So be very cautious of that too. And then the next thing is it says to wash and wax and high-speed buff the car, and also apply dressing to all the tires, clean the engine compartment, and clean all the windows. So there's like 3 things on there that they missed. The windshield, you could not see out of it because I had to clean it. They did not clean the inside of it at all. Or they did a half-ass job cleaning it and made it worse because there was nothing but streaks on it. And especially when it got kind of humid outside, when it rained the day that I actually got the car, yeah, it wasn't going to work. They didn't clean the engine compartment because, as I said, there was still oil and caked up shit everywhere. So that was something else that wasn't done. They hosed the car off when I got it because I saw that it was wet because there's water dripping off of it. And it wasn't raining the day that I got it. It was sunny just like this. So that's another thing. And there's no tire dressing on these tires because more than likely the tires are so dried out and rotted and old that the tire dressing literally soaked into the tire and you couldn't even tell that it had it on there. So that's some other things to be aware of. So all this stuff that I've pointed out is stuff that should have been checked and dealt with at that time. This car should not have been passed through the dealership. It should have been sent to an auction. It should have been sent to somebody to get all this stuff fixed. I don't care. It should have been sent to somebody to get all this dealt with when it, was brought up. A lot of the stuff on the inside has damage, like the door panels. They have like cracking on the plastics and stuff, which I didn't show. But yeah, somebody dropped the ball really bad on this car. I obviously can't point fingers because I don't know who works on this stuff. But I've called Carvana. I had to call today to verify the swap between this and the MKS because it was taking them a long time to verify my shit, and now I see why. But I know that the calls are recorded, and if they're not, whatever. But I made sure to say it today and the other day when I called about all the shit wrong with this car. Somebody's not doing what they're supposed to do. They need to be dealing with that because that's a problem. Because then you got people like me that if for some reason this is my last chance to get the car or get a car from them, I wouldn't have no choice but to get all this shit fixed. And who knows what they would do about the wheels and all that. The tires are easy. They can just replace the tires. But the wheels are the problem. I don't know if they go and replace all 4 wheels with brand new ones, or if they try to find a wrecked car with wheels on it like this, or I don't know. And then like the the camera, they would obviously get that looked at because it has to work. It's a part of the car. It's a feature that's supposed to work, so it needs to work. And the capacitive touch stuff, they'd have to fix that too. The water damage, I don't know what they do about that. They'd either probably get it cleaned or I don't know. They would probably need to find where it started to leak. That's the first thing. It didn't leak when I drove it. When I had it, like the day that it rained, it didn't show any signs of leaking still. So it obviously must have happened in the past. And then another thing is, even though you see that the water has stopped at the pillar or it just got the pillars wet, it could have also went down and got the carpets wet. And then, as I said, mold can start to form underneath the carpet, and you'll always get that smell, or you'll always have issues like that, and you don't want that. And then water also attracts ants. I mean, granted, I'm parked under a tree, so it's kind of obvious, but water, ants go where the water is. So, because they need to drink just like we do. So, you got to be careful. I may be wrong about that. I don't know a lot about insects, but, it is what it is. Regardless, this is shit that should have been fixed. Everything I pointed out should have been looked at. It literally goes over all the stuff I pointed out. So, yeah. I'm making the video just so people can be very cautious and just pay attention. Don't just get all hyped up and excited thinking, oh, yeah, I'm getting a car. Yeah. And all that stuff and not actually look at it. Look at the checklist. Like for example, the car that I'm getting, which is this one. You can't really see it. You see me. Hi. When you go to the inspection part of the page, which you can't see because I'm stupid, but you see it says inspection. And then it shows a bunch of other cars that I don't care for. You can see right there, it'll show you exterior appearance, and it'll show you that there's imperfections. And then of course the interior appearance, it says there's imperfections. You can't see this on the computer. It's very hard to tell, and especially with the lighting and the color of the car. The car is silver, so it's very hard to see. It says supposedly this car's never been in an accident, but it does have some repair supposedly, so we'll see what that looks like. So yeah, if there's stuff that you don't like, you know, bring it to people's attention. See what they can do about it. Carvana is one of those companies that will actually try to do what they can to fix the issues that you have with your car, because they want you happy. Because if you're not happy, then, you know, you're obviously not going to want to buy shit from them. So, and all it takes is word of mouth just to shut a company down. It doesn't take much. So, anyways, that's all I got today. The car will be delivered Tuesday on the 5th. Today's Sunday, the 3rd. So, yeah, we're just sitting here waiting. So, whenever it gets here, I guess I'll let y'all know what's going on with it. I'll drive it and see what's going on, and we'll go from there. But I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and I try to help out as much as I can. So I appreciate the ones that watch on a regular basis, and for those that are new, I appreciate y'all too. So anyways, hope y'all enjoyed. I'll see you guys later.